I'm gonna put the banner on. Need the banner. I'm already recording. I'm gonna rush to do the banner. There we go. All right, time for Deploy on Friday. Hi everyone,
Done.
John and Jim
Ready to
here.
go.
Yeah, this is the state of the show that we're doing. It's like total mess of a show. That's so good. This is the show where we cover the week's news and events relative to Octopus Deploy. Joining me as always, Jim. Jim, how was your week?
Yeah, really good. Been playing around, learning how to write code analyzers this week. So had lots of fun actually. Have you
Wait,
ever written one of
writing
those?
code analyzers?
Yeah, like using in .NET anyway. You can use the Roslyn libraries
Right.
to
Okay. Yep.
enforce coding rules and stuff like that. It's been cool.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, well, let's get into it. We'll just start with a bang. So, all right, awesome. Should be a homepage. All right, we'll close that off. A lot of interesting blog articles that came up during the week. The most recent one is this one by Steve, the 2023 DevOps Performance Cluster. So, this is related to something I'm going to mention a little bit later on, which is the State of DevOps report, which was shipped earlier today. But Steve is participating a lot in Dora. Dora is basically the was it DevOps and research. I'm trying to remember what it is now. DevOps and research something. I can't remember what Dora
I
stands
never
for.
knew.
Anyways,
I
and
don't think I've ever known what it stood for.
it's up on Dora.dev. Yeah, DevOps Research and Assessment. Sorry, so they're a academic group and they do a bunch of research into a whole bunch of things. And we'll talk about the State of DevOps report in a second. But this is an article written by Steve talking about that the report has arrived and the clusters or performance clusters that Steve's talking about here are relative to how they measure folks when they were doing their survey, and they cluster them based on a variety of categories. So they include software delivery performance, and then inside there they have this low, medium, high sort of category that they had for 2022. And the way that they've changed this is like they've changed it to like elite and other things like that. So low, medium, high, and elite. Which is the evolution of that, and then they put a bunch of other stuff relative to that as well. All of which is to say that there's new categories for the Dora report, etc., which we'll get to in a second. But that was definitely an article I want to mention up on our blog. Another one that folks may have not have seen is Bob's on modern rollback strategy. So rollbacks are, a thing. Sometimes they don't always work. Sometimes they should be avoided, to be honest. And so Bob puts in here some fundamental opinions on this, but also has some controversial opinions as well. So um, he's saying basically like, you know, the train always moves forward when it comes to the database, and with schemas and stuff like that, it can be a bit tricky. So be careful when doing rollbacks. And this is actually a nice carry forward on the webinar that he did recently, which we'll talk about in a second as well. So it's a pretty detailed article. So you can see there's a lot of stuff in here. And so if you're at all interested in implementing rollbacks and finding out more about strategies, Bob's written an article for you. So there you go.
Spicy takes.
Nice. Speaking of Dora, I'll just bring this one forward. So this is the 2023 State of DevOps report. This is the Accelerate State of DevOps report. We were one of its sponsors, including others, and it is now available. And there's a bunch of great findings that were put in there. It's quite a detailed report. It's a number of pages. And if you're looking for sort of the Cliff Notes or the short version, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch this video featuring myself and Michelle Irvin, who's one of the authors from Google. And she and I talked about what's in the report, what were the observations made, et cetera, et cetera. And so this is sort of like, if you play this at 2 times speed, you'll get the gist. These were the key highlights found in the report. So this is the bottom line up front. Healthy culture helps with performance of your team and of individuals. Being focused on users within your organization is a big help, helps with job satisfaction, etc. Quality documentation, the bane of my existence. I liken this to flossing. You have to do it. Not all of us do. It's the old adage of, if you don't like flossing, just floss the teeth you want to keep. And then flexible infrastructure, referring to cloud infrastructure, obviously, and then underrepresented groups. This is an important one, obviously, for folks who feel like they're doing too much work. There's a lot of toil or burnout, and so those are the sort of key highlights mentioned in the report. And so, if you're at all interested, you can watch this video where Michelle and I talk about the report itself, and we go the sort of Cliff Notes versions of it. So that is the report. It's now available and has now been published through Dora.dev. You can find it there.
You
Awesome.
heard that flossing gag before?
Okay. So there you go. Moving on, we have a lot of webinars. Earlier today, I did the Octopus 101 webinar. This is the one where we basically kick the tires of Octopus and show people how to create a deployment process from scratch, etc. We have some other ones coming up. I've mentioned these before. The one that I'm really interested in is this one from Steve and Adam on platform engineering, the new hot topic. But if you need to find out more, you can go to octopus.com/webinars. And speaking of events, and I can't believe I didn't include this, but Shipped has been announced, and I know that we talked about this previously, but octopus.com/shipped. It's now featured on our banner now. So this is our all-day virtual event occurring on November 15th, featuring a whole bunch of speakers from Octopus, some of your faves, maybe some not so faves, including myself. But yeah, we'll be there and talking to you, and make sure to register today. So that's /shipped. And those are all kinds of resources that you can use. Anyways, moving on to other news. This is an article that I saw recently. Why HP3 is eating the world. I know that a lot of us are just getting up to speed on HP2, I guess. But HP3, I've kept a bit of a tight eye on, and I think that the adoption rate is interesting. I wouldn't say it's eating the world just yet, but it is interesting. And this article goes on to say that the reason why HP3 is so important is because of a protocol, which is QUIC. QUIC is basically, what does it stand for? Quick UDP something connectivity or something connections. It has to do basically with the fact that QUIC is a protocol that utilizes UDP and is really good for streaming. And this is now codified or commodified into the specification. Super important. We need this as part of HP because, as you know, when doing streaming, reliable delivery is not necessarily required. UDP is great for streaming because it just fire and just forget and keep going. So QUIC is part of that protocol, and this is part of the reason why HP3 is a thing. And so this is a great article. It talks about the necessities of things like QUIC and HP3 and why it's becoming a thing. And so if you want to check that out, that's available as well. You can check that out on the Appnik website at appnik.net. Moving on to other news, this is a blog post from the folks over at GitHub introducing the new Apple M1 silicon-powered macOS larger runner for GitHub Actions. This is quite the title. Yeah, it's just a lot of word wrapping in here. So for the longest time, a lot of folks had to run their own runners to target, obviously, M1 silicon, M2 silicon. And this is relevant if you're targeting things like macOS or iPhones, etc. You want to do compilations. And so now GitHub is offering a turnkey solution with a M1-based larger runner. And so this article goes into the details of it. It also does mention the fact that when comparing to their Intel cousins, they're seeing a 44% build time improvement, which is great. So they've diminished their build time from 42 minutes to 23 minutes. And so that's great. And if you want to use the runner, you can just simply go in here and say, it's kind of hard to see, but it says macOS 13 extra large, for example. This is how you denote the type of runner that you're going to run on, and the other types of runners. There's largest and 13 large, etc. And there's extra. All of those are now available, and that's now available through GitHub Actions. Of course, you can also use your own runners. A lot of folks we recommend, if you need to run on your own infrastructure, you can do so. There are other companies as well. There's companies like BuildJet, which provide other runners as well. So this is another solution that you can check out if you're at all curious at buildjet.com. And they do a comparison, sort of like how they compare to GitHub Actions, etc. So new M1 compilation and runners. Awesome. I know that you're excited for Build. For Build.
Universe.
GitHub Universe happening November, and we will be there. So GitHub Universe is an annual event. This is GitHub's big event where they invite folks in to talk about a bunch of things. They'll be talking about Copilot, obviously, and GitHub Universe will be there for the second year in a row, and we're actually going to have a nice location in the venue there. So this is an article on everything you need to know about what's happening at GitHub Universe. If you're going at all, you'll be able to see some of the recordings of the event, I think, after the fact. But a lot of AI, a lot of Copilot, a lot of code spaces, etc. So be there, or as they say, be square. Are you this year?
Sorry, John,
No,
I'm losing you a
it's a
little
big
bit.
no.
What did you say?
Oh, okay. I was asking if you had gone, if you're going to any other events this year.
No, I haven't. Well, having only some local events here. We're having our developer conference, a community-run developer conference is coming back this year after COVID, but nothing, not traveling for anything.
All right. So moving on, there is this blog post from the folks over at JetBrains. This is a set of recordings that they took during their .NET Day back in September 26th. And you can go check out the recordings up on YouTube, and you can see them listed on their YouTube channel. They have this listed in a playlist, and you can see a variety of videos from that event if you want to check them out. And definitely worth checking out as part of that. And then, in addition to that, there has been recently a update to Terraform. So 1.6 is now available, and Terraform 1.6 adds a new test framework as part of the tool. There was a bunch of community-based test frameworks for Terraform back in the day. Still popular today. TerraGrunt is an example. We utilize some of those for our Terraform provider, but now the test framework is built in. In addition to that, Terraform 1.6 has better support for imports. This is something that I was super excited about. And so this is basically the config-driven import. So you can put your import statements within your HCL as well. So what they've done now is they've added expressions to that aspect. And so you can put your expressions within your HCL as well. They've also added improvements to the Cloud CLI workflow, which is awesome. And believe it or not,
Nice.
that is it. Short but sweet. Jim and I were pretty busy today, so we didn't have a chance to get a whole list of links. But yeah, we'll try a shorter version of Deploy on Friday, and hopefully this will be a little bit more digestible for folks who don't have as much time, I guess. So there you go. Anyways, Jim, any
Short and
parting
sweet.
words before we sign off for the week?
No, short and sweet. Love it.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks everyone. And if you happen to stumble upon this video, let us know by sending us a comment if you want us to cover something. Otherwise, like and subscribe as always. And until next time, we'll see you next week here on Deploy on Friday. Take care, everyone.